The room was quiet in the way that makes you aware of yourself. Not peaceful, just empty enough that your thoughts start pacing. The clock on the wall kept working like it always did, steady and indifferent, as if time didn't care whether anyone was watching it pass. I sat there, fully awake, already exhausted, wondering when I'd agreed to be responsible for keeping everything together. Things were moving before I made a decision to move. My chest rose and fell, the lights hummed. Somewhere outside, a car passed like it had somewhere better to be. None of it asked me what I wanted, none of it waited. That's when it started to feel obvious, in a way that's hard to ignore once it shows itself. Life doesn't need permission. It doesn't check who's in charge. It just keeps going. We're told early on that control is the price of survival, that if you don't manage every detail, something bad will slip through the cracks. So you learn to stay tense, to stay alert, to keep a hand on the wheel, even when the road is straight and empty. You tell yourself it's discipline. You tell yourself it's responsibility. But underneath it, there's fear doing most of the driving. You carry that fear into everything. Work, relationships, decisions that shouldn't weigh as much as they do. Your body learns the routine faster than your mind ever could. It tightens by default. It braces even when nothing's coming. You wake up already prepared for impact, like the day itself is a threat you need to outmaneuver. At first, the system seems to work. You push and things move. You apply pressure and results show up. That's the dangerous part. It convinces you the strain is necessary, that without force, nothing happens. So you keep going, even when the cost starts to show, even when the effort stops feeling purposeful and starts feeling compulsive. There's a moment you don't notice right away when effort stops creating progress and starts creating noise. You do more, but everything feels heavier. You think harder, but nothing gets clearer. Your mind keeps circling the same thoughts, like it's guarding a crime scene that no longer exists. You tell yourself you just need to push through it. That's what you've always done. But eventually something gives, not dramatically. No explosion, just a quiet failure of will. You sit there staring at the same wall, the same screen, the same unfinished thought, and realize that whatever was supposed to be in charge isn't answering anymore. The control panel is lit up, but no one's at the desk. That's when you start noticing strange things. Decisions don't feel like decisions. They feel like they arrive already made. Words come out of your mouth and surprise you with how accurate they are. Your body moves before you've had time to debate it. Action happens first. Explanation comes later, like a writer trying to catch up to a plot that's already unfolding. The idea that there's a single author behind it all starts to feel thin, like a character you believed in because the story needed one. Thoughts show up on their own. Desires don't ask for approval. Motivation comes and goes without respecting your plans, and still things happen. Life keeps functioning without a central commander barking orders. That realization can feel like standing too close to the edge. If you're not the one in control, what's keeping everything from falling apart? The answer is uncomfortable in its simplicity. The same thing that's always been keeping it together. Patterns, feedback, response. A system that knows how to move without being micromanaged. Surrender is the wrong word for it. but it's the closest one we have. Not the kind where you give up and let everything rot, but the kind where you stop interfering with what already knows how to function. Like loosening your grip on something fragile and realizing it doesn't shatter, it steadies. Control wastes energy trying to dominate uncertainty. This kind of surrender conserves energy by accepting it. You stop forcing every step and start noticing where momentum already exists. You stop arguing with reality and start cooperating with it. Things don't slow down. They get cleaner. Action changes when it's no longer fueled by fear. It loses its dramatic edge. No speeches, no inner threats. You still act, but the movement feels quieter, more precise. Like turning down background static you didn't realize was always there. Effort shows up when it's needed and leaves when it's done, without demanding recognition. The hardest thing to let go of isn't control itself. It's the identity built around it. The version of you that survived by staying tense. The one who believes struggle is proof of worth. Releasing that feels like erasing a character from your own story. There's grief in it. A strange sense of disloyalty to all the nights you pushed through when you didn't think you had a choice. But past that grief is something steadier. You still wake up, you still work, you still make mistakes and deal with the fallout. But the constant self-interrogation fades. You stop treating every moment like a test you might fail. Responsibility shifts from controlling outcomes to paying attention, to noticing when you're forcing, when you're afraid, when you're trying to overpower something that doesn't need to be fought. Burnout stops looking like a personal flaw and starts looking like evidence. Too much effort in the wrong direction, too much resistance, too much identity wrapped around suffering. Maybe the thing blocking you isn't laziness or lack of will. Maybe it's excess control, choking off movement that would otherwise happen on its own. Life still moves first. Thought still follows. Meaning gets assigned after the fact. You were never the engine. You were the narrator, stepping in late and calling it intention. When you stop insisting on authorship, action becomes less violent. The body knows when to push. It knows when to stop. It doesn't need threats to function. The world doesn't fall apart when you loosen your grip. It keeps going the same way it always has. The only thing that disappears is the unnecessary tension you mistook for responsibility. You don't vanish. You don't lose direction. You lose noise. So if no one is in charge, why do anything at all? Because things move whether you supervise them or not. Because action doesn't require a ruler, only space. You can spend your life managing every step, or you can notice the ground has been holding you the whole time. You weren't broken. You were overcorrecting, trying to control what never asked to be controlled. Letting go doesn't mean stepping into darkness. It means stepping into a movement that was already happening, steady and indifferent, waiting for you to stop getting in the way. If you're still here, it means something in this didn't let you leave. Maybe it sounded familiar. Maybe it just refused to resolve itself neatly. Either way, you stayed, and that counts for more than most things people rush past. I don't know what you'll do next. Maybe you'll close this and go back to whatever was waiting. Maybe you'll sit there a little longer and let the silence settle. Both are fine. The night doesn't demand decisions. It just keeps moving. Thanks for listening, not in the polite way, in the way that costs something, in the way where you let a thought get too close and didn't flinch. That's rare. I'll leave you with the dark and whatever's still moving inside it. Take it from here